King J back with another video, and we have from the King J team ImortalXSoul to talk about HitBox. Make sure you don't give a like, thumbs up is the like, leave a comment in the comment section, and yeah, I'm gonna find out more. So ImortalXSoul, take it away.
Yo, what's good people? Today we're going to be talking about SF6 and 2D specific mechanics, how using HitBox will work, how Street Fighter 6 holds inputs, and how the simultaneous opposing cardinal direction system works within SF6. We're going to be covering some shortcuts and some reasons why you would want to choose a leverless style controller over a regular PS4 pad or PS5 controller. Let's get into it. So now we're in SF6, and right off the bat I just want to say I feel like movement is way cleaner on a leverless style controller, just because the direction buttons are separate, whereas on a controller typically the plastic buttons you press on the D-pad, it's if you actually take out of the controller and you look at the pad, it's joined, so you don't actually have separate directions, they're joined. And that's why sometimes controllers can feel mushy, depending on the condition of the controller, how new it is, etc. The D-pad can feel very, very mushy, and that's one thing that is an issue with Street Fighter 6 or 2D in general, is you need to block low a lot in 2D games, and if your directions are inconsistent, it's going to be an issue. Okay, Aki. Yeah, the directions are going to be inconsistent, so you definitely need clean down back. When you press down back, you get a down back. And that's what I like about HitBox. When you press a direction, you will get the input you intended. So if I'm pressing a DP, I'm going to get a DP every time. So one thing as well is you can actually walk back and crouch and switch between, obviously low block and then walking back, very easily on HitBox. So you can actually kind of like buffer defense if you wanted to. It's not something that I would do personally, but yeah, you can do this if you want. I would do something like this, or walk into space and whiff punish, or walk back out of space. Let's say, for example, you know they have a very long range button, you can kind of easily space yourself and go for the whiff punish. Something like that. So one thing in SF6 and 2D games in general is defense. So you need to be able to kind of press down back and get a clean down back at will, because this is low block. I'm pressing down and then down back to get a low block, and you need to low block consistently in this game, as well as walk back and be able to space. But I think more importantly, down back and getting clean down backs, because there's a tool in this game called low forward, which is crouching medium kick. This is low forward, and you can drive rush from it. So you can normally drive rush. This is a drive rush, but you can cancel. You can do a drive rush cancel, which means cancelling a move into drive rush. So that's what you would do. And the reason why this is problematic to defend against is because firstly, it's a low. So if you're trying to space, waddling back and forth, trying to get the perfect spacing for like, I don't know, stand fierce or something, you can get hit with a low forward. So it's important to have that down back on lock and definitely have consistent inputs. And I feel like HitBox aids with that. It really gives you, if you press an input, if you press a direction, it's going to give you the direction. Right? That's what I like about HitBox. The reason why you don't want to get hit with a low forward drive rush is because, and now I'm in the corner with pressure, and that opens me up to throw loops, because you can't block a throw, you have to tech throw. So I'm in the corner, let's say for example I'm the Aki player, I'm in the corner and now I'm in a throw loop. It's either throw, or it's a meaty, or something else, or it's a shimmy, for example. So shimmy, you would walk in, make them think you're going to throw them, and then walk back out of the throw range. And the reason why this is dangerous is because some characters can net very, very good damage. Like Cammy, for example, I'm going to show you. I'm going to put punish counter on. So punish counter means when you've punished them, basically. That it's kind of a new way of telling the difference between a counter hit and a punish counter. So punish counter would be, for example, if I shimmy them. So if I walk forward, let's say I've thrown them, right? And then I walk forward to do a throw loop, and then they think I'm going to do it again. Nope, I walk back out of space, and then I do this, for example. Now this is an issue because look at the damage I netted from faking a grab. So you don't want to be in the situation where you're in the corner. It's very, very problematic in my opinion. And that's why I feel like having clean movement on a hitbox, like you can really space yourself well with a hitbox. That's one of many reasons why I feel like hitbox has advantages over pad. Movement is a very, very big thing. So some characters have very complex inputs, and I feel like Cammy is one of them in terms of her dive kick, and dive kick is quite an essential part of her game plan, pressure. So for example, in this part of the screen, you can actually use it to bait DPs and anti-airing to your advantage. So you can do it from any range really, and Cammy jump would be something like this. So that's her normal trajectory or her jump arc, and you can change the jump arc with a dive kick. So as you can see, I'm jumping from this line, or let's restart. So she's going to be here, right? Like pretty much right in front of Aki, but you can make her go way further with a dive kick, as you can see. So one important thing in SF6 is obviously clean inputs, and depending on what character you're using. So for example, I'm using Cammy, and I feel like a dive kick is a very essential part of her game. So you really need to have clean inputs. I just discussed clean inputs in terms of movement, spacing, and defense, especially emphasizing down back, because down back will save you a lot of times. Getting a clean down back and not getting back will save you a lot of times from like low forward drive rush in the clutch, stuff like that. But I want to talk about her dive kick. So Cammy has a dive kick normally in the air, but she can do instant dive kick. So it's like there's a minimum jump height requirement to do a dive kick in the air, and so it's not technically instant because you can't do it right when she leaves the ground, but you can kind of do it slightly instantly, I guess. Something like this. So you kind of have to be the judge of spacing, because different strengths have different spacing. So the light version is kind of close, medium, further, and then heavy is obviously the furthest. Along with the precise and clean movement, you can really judge dive kick spacing, and that's a very essential part of Cammy's gameplay, especially for pressure and for baiting DPs. For example, if you're standing here and someone wants to DP you, you can just bait the DP and do a light. And then you can bait the DP and then go in for like a punish counter or something. That's normally what you do on punish, or this. That's like the punish counter combo, or this one. Obviously it's not going to combo because it's not a punish counter, but generally that's what you would do on a punish counter. So I think movement overall is more clean. It feels more responsive than a controller, for example, and that's why I think that hitbox is beneficial. Now let's talk about SOCD. So I've mentioned SOCD in all of these videos in kind of a series, but SOCD stands for simultaneous opposing cardinal directions. So I'm not going to call them cardinal direction, I'm just going to call them directions. So, you know, you have your left, right, down, and jump. So let's say, for example, I'm pressing QCF. QCF means down, down, forward, forward. So all it is a rolling motion. And in 2D, there's a lot of rolling motions. And this is another thing that people can struggle on a controller, is just getting clean quarter circles. And a lot of the times, a super requires 2 quarter circles in a row, like this. As you can see, it's quite slow. We need some shortcuts. Depending on what character you are determines what kind of inputs you have to do. So for example, grapplers normally would have to do 360 motions, which means hitting every cardinal direction input. So you would have to hit, so to do an SPD like a spinning power driver with Zangief, you would have to hit forward, down, back, and up. In any combination, it doesn't really matter what combination. You can do it this way, you can do it this way. As long as you hit every direction, it's gonna give you an SPD. So right now I'm holding forward. So forward, the forward condition for the SPD is already met because I pressed forward, right? So in that instance, I did forward, half circle back, up back, and then a punch. Okay, so I want to break the input down for you on the big overlay so you can kind of really see what I'm pressing. So I'm going to switch. I'm going to break it down slowly though so you understand why it's working. So forward satisfies forward for the 4 cardinal directions. So forward, then down, forward satisfies down. And then I'm still holding down. And what's important is you need to roll, really emphasize that movement, because you need to actually press down by itself at some point in the half circle back. Because sometimes you can actually get like forward, then down, back, then back. But you actually need to really roll it. So now you can see I'm still pressing down, back, and then jump. I press jump here. I mean, I guess you could. It's very strange for me to do it that way. I don't really like doing it that way. I find it slow. So I use my thumb. My thumb's very, it's way quicker doing it this way because it's not really occupied at the current time in pressing. So you would do this, do SPD. So you're gonna hear him do the SPD. I'm gonna walk forward. Yeah, there we are. So he did SPD, but you can't see it because I'm trying to show you. But again, I'm SPDing JP. But that was the input. I just wanted to show you on the big screen just so you can see in detail what I'm actually doing. All right, guys, that was my SF6 specific and 2D specific video on SOCD and HitBox. I hope you enjoyed. Next, we're going to talk about shortcuts across multiple games because I did cover a little bit in this video, but we're going to be covering shortcuts in Tekken, shortcuts in 3D games, and also more shortcuts in SF6, useful shortcuts that you can use. And typically these are only possible on leverless style controllers because you can use shortcuts on a pad, but it's very impractical and you're going to have to start remapping buttons and making the right stick the directions, and it's just very strange. And it's, you know, if you're going to a tournament, you're not really going to be able to do that. So that was it for this video, guys. Peace.
Simmer down, simmer now. Couple kicks to your boat, I'm a winner now. Like Eddie with the feet, I'm a killer now. Simmer down, simmer now.